Well, free agency is nearly upon us, and with that, there's still not a ton of rumors of exactly what's going on, but I'm still going to have to give my prediction for our starting five in 2023. Let's talk some TSM. Hey everybody, like I said, this is the episode where I'm going to give my predictions. So let's just drop right into it here. Question of the day. Let me know in the comment section below. What are your expectations for free agency? What do you think we're going to do? Who do you think we're going to sign? Who do you think stays? Who goes? Let me know. My first one, and I told you guys eventually I would start down at the bottom here. I'm going with Chime here at the support position. I do believe, honestly, and I'm just going to say this right now, this is the most exciting player for me on this roster. I think he still has, a lot of potential and is, somebody who, yes, is on the older side when they're getting their first real chance, I guess second real chance. And even with that, I still think that he is somebody who can grow and be somebody who can be a potential piece, cog in this wheel for a very long time. And most of the time people use cog in the wheel as a bad thing. I think for a good team, you need those supportive pieces, not just at support, right? Like you're not always going to have prime, core JJ, at the peak of his career. But you still need people who can make plays, who are good leaders, and who understand, map movements and just different metas and being able to play multiple different champions. Will Chime ever be the best LCS support? Probably not. But is he going to be somebody who could probably challenge for top 3 at some point? Yeah, I think he could in the right scenarios. So, yeah, this is the player I'm probably the most excited about. Moving on, we have Johnson. I haven't heard much about Johnson, and I will say I'm not doing this totally based on rumors and leaks and stuff. Again, I'm just giving a prediction here, and I think he has connections with the org, if I remember correctly, back in the day. I believe he came up through the TSM system at some point, and not just that, but I think he's solid. He's not spectacular. He's not going to carry every single game for you, but he can carry at times, and when he's paired with a good support who knows how to play to his strengths, he can be a top 5, LCS AD carry. And again, is he going to be a Berserker or a Danny or an FBI even? No, probably not. Is he going to be right in the middle of the road and, be somebody who can, keep TSM out of the bottom of the barrel? Yeah, I do believe that. And I understand that Aphromoo has been kind of his guy. And every time he's left Aphromoo, or I guess the only time he's left Aphromoo, he didn't look as good. I think Chime can be the sort of Aphromoo that Johnson needs, and he's gonna be looking for a job, I'm assuming. And I think he's a player that we could just take a look at and might fulfill a role, I guess, for right now. The mid laner is going to probably stay as Maple. I just don't see a lot of better options out there. And that's not a bad thing. I think Maple can easily be a top 5 mid laner, especially given who I will have in the jungle here in just a minute. I really think he came into his own, and he played much better during the playoffs than he did during the regular season. And I'm sure a lot of that had to do with just so many pieces moving around, not having confidence, in the team, I'm sure at some point. And as he started to play with more confidence, he reminded us of what he was. And listen, again, is he the most exciting player? No, but he brings stability, and he is still a very good player, right? I believe that I think he can absolutely challenge for a top 3 spot in the LCS at the mid lane position. Will he do that consistently? I don't know. But with JoJo there and Bjergsen likely to sign somewhere, and Jensen at least rumored to be out, I think he could potentially be that third best mid laner in the LCS right now. at least until we see where the rest of the pieces fall. So again, he gives TSM a player whose floor is not going to be problematic, but who is also going to be somebody who can, how would I put this? Who can carry a game when given the right opportunities. I will have to see how this meta shakes out for him, once the season starts. But when I continuously look at the different options in mid lane, the only one I really, really wanted was VTO. And unless if they're going to find some stud, LCK, mid laner, young gun who hasn't gotten a chance yet, or they find some diamond in the rough over from Europe, I'm okay with Maple at this point. I'm not excited about him, but I am okay with him. Santorin. We all know that Santorin has been here before. I know there are rumors because of the picture that Svenskeren put out there that he might be coming to TSM. I don't know who's going to go to TSM right now in the jungle, especially. I really don't. With Spica gone, it's a pretty gaping hole right now. And I think Santorin might be one of the people without a team, which is so crazy to believe right now. I mean, Team Liquid are clearly going young. They're restarting, it seems like, and there are going to be, I think, a lot of other people who are going to be doing something similar. And truly, Santorin, I think, is a much better version of Svenskeren right now. He's a little bit younger, I believe, and he kind of was like arguably the best player in TL last year. This is not another player that I'm like, oh, gung ho, like this is great. This gives us another 25-year-old plus player, but at this point, I don't really, really care, because if we're not going to go get somebody like Will, and we're not going to commit to finding a new jungler from the outside, I think this is probably one of our best options, and we've seen him be a top 3 jungler, at least a top 5 consistently. And top 5 jungling is not like top 5 in the mid lane, where top 5 in the mid lane is because there's just not a lot of other options. Top 5 in the jungle, almost every team had a pretty solid jungler by the end of the year last year. I would say at least 7 teams, potentially 8, had good junglers by the end of the year, and Santorin was still up near the top. I don't think he's going to be somebody who carries very often for you. I think it's going to be his macro gameplay, but I do think that even through playing more tanky and engaging type champions, that his playmaking abilities really came out last year because they had to. And I think on this team, they probably will have to. So he may end up being kind of our star player almost by default. And, if you're not going to have Spica, this is the kind of guy that I would be, again, okay with. I'm not necessarily excited about him, but I'd be okay with him. The last one here is going to be Solo. I think they've already got him under contract. If they are going budget and they don't want to spend any extra money, even though it looks like the FTX stuff was about what at least what I expected, which was they were a stable company without it. They didn't need that money. It was more, again, I think, for growth and for having a little bit of extra cash in the just in case jar, right? This seems like it's a safe move with Soul apparently gone, which is still baffling to me. Solo does provide you with stability, and I think that's the name of the game for this roster, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. I think stability at its core is what's going to be extremely important for TSM as they kind of figure out what they're going to be doing next. There are plenty of rumors out there. I don't know how many of them are true or not. As I said in my last video, I'm sure you guys all saw the tweet from Skeleton that kind of outlined what I had also been hearing. I just wasn't willing to put it out there because I still believe it might be coming from one source, which doesn't necessarily make it the most true of things. I have reached out for a comment from TSM. I've not yet heard back. Not that they've had a ton of time to respond to it, and I'm sure they're probably coming up with something. Maybe I'll even get an interview on here about it. But regardless, I think this team is not an exciting one, but is it a team that at its best is maybe finishing third, maybe. I think if Johnson, Maple, and Santorin play really well, I think I think Chime and Solo can be the bookends that allow for this team to just not really lose games, right? Like, what I mean by that is they're not going to get blown out. This is a team that's going to be in the game consistently. They're not going to be a super fun team necessarily, but are they going to be a team that, hovers around 500, maybe goes like 10-8 or something like that? Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of team that beats the bad teams and the younger teams that don't understand the game as well, and likely loses to the top tier teams like Evil Geniuses and the rumored 100 Thieves roster. It's not overly exciting for the future, and I think a lot of these players have a 1-year shelf life on TSM. I don't see them playing past 2023. I don't even see some of them, especially if they don't play well, playing past the spring split, but that's okay. Sometimes these are the things you need to do. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this roster. This is the one that I think is the most likely, or has pieces that are the most likely to fall to TSM, but you guys let me know. I'll have the videos down below me as always, and yeah, I mean, we're coming up. It's happening soon, so I'll catch you guys on the next one, and I think we'll have some more news by then.